Imagine a world where nobody could run, laugh, write, or even speak. Sounds impossible, right? That's because every action needs a verb. Let's learn about verbs. A verb is a word that shows an action, a state, or a condition. It tells us what someone or something does or is. Action verbs show what someone does. Examples include run, jump, eat, sing, dance, and write. Some verbs don't show action. They connect the subject to more information. These are called linking verbs, such as is, are, was, and seems. Helping verbs work with main verbs to complete their meaning. Examples are is, have, has, and will. Look at these examples. The baby cried. The birds fly. My father drives carefully. The highlighted words are verbs. Remember, every complete sentence needs a verb. Without a verb, the sentence is incomplete. Great job. Now you know that verbs bring every sentence to life.
Did you know an action verb can change to tell us when something happens? Let's learn action verb tenses. Action verb tenses tell us when an action happens. The three main tenses are present, past, and future. The present tense tells us about actions happening now or actions that happen regularly. Example, she reads every day. The past tense tells us about actions that already happened. Example, she read yesterday. The future tense tells us about actions that will happen later. Example, she will read tomorrow. Notice how the verb changes to show present, past, and future actions. Remember, present means now, past means before now, and future means after now. Excellent. Now you know the three main action verb tenses. What are you doing right now? Reading? Watching? Learning? Those actions use present tense verbs. The present tense tells us about actions happening now or actions that happen regularly. Example, she reads every day. The verb read shows a regular action. Another example, they play football every Saturday. The verb play is in the present tense. More examples, I write neatly. We sing in class. He eats breakfast every morning. Remember, with he, she, and it, we usually add s or yes to the verb in the simple present tense. Always check your subject. He, she, and it usually take verbs ending in s or yes. Fantastic. Now you know how to use present tense action verbs correctly. Have you ever wondered how we talk about actions that already happened? Welcome to the world of past tense verbs. Past tense verbs show actions or events that happened before now. They tell stories about yesterday, last week, or long ago. Regular verbs form their past tense by adding ed. For example, walk becomes walked, play becomes played, and jump becomes jumped. Irregular verbs do not follow the ed rule. They change completely. Go becomes went, eat becomes ate, and see becomes saw. Look at these examples. I visited my friend yesterday. She wrote a letter last night. The verbs visited and wrote show past actions. Remember, do not say, I go to school. The correct sentence is, I went to school. Learn irregular verbs carefully. Past tense verbs help us share stories about the past. Keep learning and improving your English. What if you could talk about tomorrow with confidence? Let's learn future tense verbs. Future tense verbs describe actions or events that have not happened yet. They tell us what will happen in the future. The most common way to form the future tense is with will plus the base verb. For example, I will study. She will sing. They will travel. We also use going to for future plans. For example, I am going to read a book. We are going to visit Grandma tomorrow. Examples, the teacher will give us homework. They are going to play football after school. Both talk about future actions. Remember, after will, always use the base form of the verb. Say, he will go, not he will goes. Now you're ready to talk about the future with confidence. Want to speak English more confidently? Master the three simple tenses. Simple tenses help us talk about actions in the present, the past, and the future. They are the foundation of English grammar. The simple present describes habits, routines, and facts. Example, I read every day. The sun rises in the east. The simple past tells us about actions that already happened. Example, she visited her grandmother yesterday. They played football after school. The simple future tells us about actions that will happen. Example, I will study tonight. We will travel next week. Watch the change. I play. I played. I will play. Same verb, different time. Master the simple tenses, and you'll build stronger English skills every day. Can you describe an action that's happening right now, was happening before, or will be happening later? Let's master continuous tenses. Continuous tenses describe actions that are in progress at a particular time. They are formed with a form of be plus a verb ending in ing. The present continuous describes actions happening now. Example, she is writing a letter. They're playing football. The past continuous describes actions that were in progress in the past. Example, we were studying when the lights went out. The future continuous describes actions that will be in progress in the future. Example, I will be traveling tomorrow morning. I am reading. I was reading. I will be reading. The action stays the same, but the time changes. Remember, continuous tenses always use the ing form of the verb. Say, she is playing, not she is play. Now you know how continuous tenses show actions in progress. Have you ever wondered how to talk about completed actions correctly? Let's master perfect tenses. Perfect tenses describe actions that are completed at different points in time. They use have, has, or had with the past participle of the verb. The present perfect connects the past to the present. Example, she has finished her homework. They have visited Abuja. The past perfect describes an action completed before another past action. Example, they had eaten before the guests arrived. The future perfect describes an action that will be completed before a future time. Example, I will have finished the project by Friday. Watch the difference. I have finished. I had finished. I will have finished. Same action, different time. Remember, perfect tenses use the past participle, not the simple past. Say she is gone, not she has went. Perfect tenses make your English clearer and more accurate. Want to describe actions that started in the past and continued over time? Let's master the perfect continuous tenses. Perfect continuous tenses describe actions that began earlier and continued for a period of time. They use have been, had been, or will have been with a verb ending in ing. The present perfect continuous describes an action that started in the past and is still continuing. Example, she has been reading for 2 hours. The past perfect continuous describes an action that had been happening before another past event. Example, they had been studying before the teacher arrived. The future perfect continuous describes an action that will have been continuing up to a future time. Example, by next month I will have been working here for 1 year. Notice the difference. I have been writing. I had been writing. I will have been writing. The action continues, but the time changes. Remember, perfect continuous tenses always use been followed by the ing form of the verb. Say, she has been writing, not she has been right. Perfect continuous tenses help you describe ongoing actions with precision. Why does go become went instead of goed? Let's uncover the secret of irregular verbs. Irregular verbs do not form their past tense by simply adding ed. Instead, they change in different ways, so you need to learn them individually. Here are some common examples. Go, went, eat, ate, see, saw, come, came, and write, wrote. Many irregular verbs also have unique past participles. For example, go, went, gone, eat, ate, eaten, write, wrote, written. Examples, she went to school yesterday. They have eaten lunch. He has written a letter. Be careful. Don't say, I have went. The correct sentence is, I have gone. Always use the correct past participle. The best way to master irregular verbs is to practice them in groups and use them in everyday sentences. Did you know that thousands of English verbs follow one simple rule? Let's master regular verbs. Regular verbs form their past tense and past participle by adding ed or d to the base form of the verb. Here are some examples. Walk becomes walked, play becomes played, wash becomes washed, and open becomes opened. She played football yesterday. They washed the car. I opened the door this morning. Watch out for spelling changes. Add d after verbs ending in e, change y to one before, ed, and double the final consonant in some short verbs like stop. Don't forget the ed ending when talking about completed past actions. Say, she played yesterday, not she play yesterday. Practice regular verbs every day by reading, writing, and speaking. The more you use them, the easier they become. Now you know how regular verbs work. Can a verb complete its meaning without an object? Let's discover transitive verbs. A transitive verb is a verb that needs a direct object to complete its meaning. The action passes from the subject to an object. Example, the boy ate an apple. The verb is ate and the direct object is an apple. More examples, she read a book. He opened the door. They washed the car. Each verb has a direct object. Ask yourself, verb what or verb whom? If the sentence answers the question, the verb is transitive. Be careful. Some transitive verbs sound incomplete without an object. Instead of she bought, say she bought a laptop. Remember, transitive verbs transfer their action to someone or something. Always look for the direct object. Now you can identify transitive verbs with confidence.
Did you know that some verbs don't need an object to make complete sense? Let's learn about intransitive verbs. An intransitive verb is a verb that does not need a direct object to complete its meaning. The action ends with the subject. Common intransitive verbs include run, sleep, laugh, cry, arrive, and fly. These verbs can stand alone in a sentence. Examples, the baby slept. The children laughed. The train arrived on time. None of these verbs has a direct object. Ask yourself, what or whom after the verb. If there's no direct object and the sentence is still complete, the verb is intransitive. Don't force a direct object after an intransitive verb. Say, the baby slept peacefully, not the baby slept the bed. Remember this simple rule, transitive verbs need an object, but intransitive verbs do not. Excellent. You now know how to recognize intransitive verbs. What's the most important verb in a sentence? Let's discover the power of finite verbs. A finite verb is a verb that changes according to the subject and the tense. It can stand as the main verb in a complete sentence. Example, she writes every day. The verb writes agrees with the singular subject she and shows the present tense. Another example, they played football yesterday. The verb played is finite because it shows the past tense. Finite verbs can also show the future. Example, we will travel tomorrow. Here, will travel expresses the future action. A finite verb tells us who is doing the action and when it happens. Look for the verb that changes with tense or the subject. A sentence needs a finite verb to be complete. She writing a letter is incorrect because it has no finite verb. Finite verbs are the heart of complete sentences. Master them, and your grammar will improve. Did you know that not every verb shows tense? Let's explore non-finite verbs. Non-finite verbs do not show tense or agree with the subject. They cannot be the main verb of a complete sentence on their own. The first type is the infinitive. Examples include to read, to write, and to learn. Example, she wants to read a book. The second type is the gerund. A gerund ends in ing and acts like a noun. Example, reading improves your vocabulary. The third type is the participle. Example, the smiling girl won the race. Here, smiling describes the girl. Remember, to study is an infinitive, studying can be a gerund, and studying hard, in the studying students were quiet, use is a participle. A non-finite verb cannot usually stand alone as the main verb of a complete sentence. It needs a finite verb to complete the idea. Now you know the 3 types of non-finite verbs. Like, subscribe, share this video, and leave a comment using an infinitive, a gerund, or a participle in a sentence.